So it's all for play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody. Oh, what the hell is going on here? Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Just wanted to jump on and do a small little piece here on the first time we have had our new man at the helm, Francesco Calvo, speak to what was actually great to see Michelle Owen back in there interviewing as well. Not that there's anything wrong with Kate Tracy, obviously. Kate Tracy does a fantastic job as well. But it was great to see Michelle Owen back there. You know, she's done some great work for the club in the past, and she got a chance to speak to Francesco Calvo in the today, and that was released. And do you know what? I think there was some really interesting pieces that he went through, that he spoke about, and we're actually going to take a look at it together today, because I like sometimes not to come and tell you what I think he said. I want to listen to it together. And for those of you that haven't seen this, well, let's watch it together, because I'm going to play it here. Thank you so much to everybody who is here. If you could like and share this podcast, it would be great. And also, can I get somebody to tell me if they can hear the audio on this first?
I find everything very exciting to discover the city,
because I can't hear the audio,
and
that's strange.
Club, because I want to
I always have audio errors.
I've heard that.
Can anyone hear that before I go back and start reading it? Loud and clear. Okay, perfect. Okay. I just can't hear it. Give me 2 seconds and I will rectify that. Because I can't hear what the great man is saying. Apologies. This is great podcasting. As always, great podcasting. You come here for this kind of crack, don't you? Let me see if I can hear it now. Now I got it.
I find everything very exciting.
And you guys can still hear?
The club and understanding the culture of the club, because I want to know everything properly in order to start in the right way. I've heard amazing things about the atmosphere at Villa Park. That's very important that we work as one club, because Aston Villa is more important than any of us, so that's very important.
First of all, I just want to say I love that intro stuff. I'm a sucker for all that. Give me more and more of that stuff, and that good, I suppose that good editing and the good content creation that the club have. I love it. I love it. So let's get down to the nuts and bolts of Mr. Calvo's first interview with the club.
Francesco, welcome to Aston Villa. How have you found your first few days at the club?
Thank you very much. I find everything very exciting. Let's say I arrived here a bit in advance to what I was supposed to be here, because I wanted to discover the city, to discover the club, and to start getting to know the people and understanding the culture of the club. And I've been visiting around. I've been visiting Birmingham and the Midlands, trying to understand where I'm arriving, because I want to know everything properly in order to start in the right way.
Yeah,
first of all, just to kind of answer that, or to look at that, that's an interesting answer he's given there, because in previous interviews he's given, specifically when he went to Barcelona, he spoke about, very much so, he spoke about getting to know the club, the culture, the Catalan culture, because it was a community-led club, that he went there and spent time in and amongst the people before he became, you know, somebody within the entity that is Barcelona first, so that he could see what everybody was about, what the culture and the locality was about first. Seems he's done that in Birmingham as well. So look, if you can ingratiate, and I think maybe that's one thing that maybe the previous incumbent that was there didn't understand, was I suppose the local culture, the Midlands culture, the Midlands, the UK way of doing things for a footballing sense. But this guy, hopefully, if it's not just window dressing for what he says, is going to ingratiate himself within that culture. And look, I think there's nobody here that if he does what he says there's nobody here that will disagree with that. Let's go on.
Your appointment was confirmed some time ago. So what have you been learning about Aston Villa in that time you've been waiting to start?
Between my previous experience and now, I had some time to study, and I've been reading books, and I've been trying to document myself as much as I could about the region and about the club, because I think that the sooner I will be able to understand the club, its fans, and the people working at the club, the better I will be able to perform.
Again, say pretty much the same answer that he gave to the last question, but the context here that is very important is the better you can understand the club, the fans, and the region, the better he will be able to perform. Look, I don't think I'm going to be treading on anyone's toes here when I say that Chris Heck did not take time to understand the fans. The fans were at loggerheads with him previously. From almost from day one, the fans were at loggerheads with him. As I say, a change at the top and a mellowing in a more inclusive nature to see what the fans can bring is welcome, but actions speak louder than words.
Your football CV is very impressive. Juventus, Roma, Barcelona, 3 huge clubs. How will your experiences at those giants help you here at Aston Villa?
I think I've been lucky enough to work for different clubs, and as you said, big clubs. And I think that they are very different from one another. Juventus has ownership which has been lasting for more than 100 years. It's a big family in Italy. Barcelona doesn't have any ownership other than its 155,000 members, and Roma had the foreign owners. So I think I will try to take the best out of each club and try to adapt my knowledge to Aston Villa.
And you worked with Monchi in the past at Roma. Will the two of you sort of already knowing each other help the relationship between the football side and the business side?
I worked with Monchi for a short stint at Roma. We enjoyed a lot working together. And I think that there is not a kind of a leading department, let's say, at the club. We need to work together, helping one another. That's very important that we work as one club, because Aston Villa is more important than any of us. So that's very important. And I think that how Aston Villa has been developing on and off the pitch, and talking about on the pitch, under the leadership of Unai, of Monchi, and of Damien, say what has been achieved so far, it's quite unbelievable given the short amount of time. So my focus will be to support the 3 of them and to support the football department of Aston Villa in order to make it even a more successful club.
And what
That's once again what we want to hear. He's telling us what we want to hear there, which is great. And apologies if I come across as being skeptical here. I'm not. I'm actually quite up on this. I'm quite high in this appointment. I think he's somebody who's got the relevant expertise in the background. But he's saying what we want to hear here, which is fantastic. You know, he wants to work with Monchi, he wants to work with Unai Emery, but he says a contextual piece in the moment as well that really kind of hit home with me, because he obviously knows the struggles the previous man had, and is trying to address them. And we'll come to that in a moment when he does talk about it.
What conversations have you had with the owners so far?
The owners, they have a very clear ambition to build every day on the club, to make the club sustainable and lasting for the long term. And that's admirable. Let's say how determined they are to improve every day the club. And that's what I've been asked to, and what I will try to do every single day.
Well, what sort of leader would you say that you are?
Before Michelle gets into that question, actually, because Gary mentions this here about, is there any concern that the main message is we need to be sustainable for the future? I know it's something we obviously need, but sometimes it's a message that the investment won't be as high as previous. I'm not concerned by it. It's something that is going to have to happen. Some owner is going to have to do it, make it sustainable. And I think that these guys who've pumped X amount of millions into hundreds of millions into this club should be the ones to make it sustainable. This is the same message that we had last year and the year before as well about sustainability. Now, I don't think that means that there's going to be lack of investment. I just think it's a case whereby they want to have it in like they're businessmen at the end of the day. And I know this is their plaything, but at the end of the day, they want, like, you don't ever hear of Daniel Levy having to talk about Spurs being sustainable, or like clubs that have the revenue base. I think the word sustainable was used probably by definitely by somebody who English is not their first language. And I think it was used in a way whereby revenues need to increase. The club needs to be creating its own money. And I think that's probably fair. Well, it's not probably fair. It's 100% fair. That owners, every single owner wants there to come a time with their club where it's going to be creating their own money. But I don't think that necessarily means lack of investment. There will be investment in infrastructure projects and stuff like that. But I think it just, from the sustainability point of view, I think it just means that the club is going to need to generate more revenue, which isn't really a secret, I think. Oh, scary. But good question.
How would you describe the way you lead?
That's an interesting question. Let's say I can tell you the way I see myself. Then we will have to double check with the staff and the fans in a near time. I'd say I try to be open and transparent, because that's, I think, is key to work properly with people. It's not going to be a one-man show with me, but I'm kind of a director of an orchestra. And in the end, my ultimate responsibility is to put everybody in the best possible position to deliver. So I will try really to support the others, and dialogue for me would be extremely important.
Again, this is the part that I like to hear. He doesn't want to be a one-man show. He doesn't want to be the figurehead. He wants to be the director of the orchestra. He's obviously going to be the man who's going to have a microphone put in his face when he's to speak to fans, and he is going to need to be the mouthpiece. But putting people in the best place to succeed is important. Directing people or potentially, and once again, I don't know a whole lot about Chris Heck, but I think the perception from fans was that there was more of a direction given. It was more of a directive type of a director type of position. And while that position is obviously going to have that ultimate parameter to it, there are ways and means to do it. So once again, interesting to see how this plays out. Like, one of the ways I think that this will play out is, do we get to know who the other people are that are under him? Like, will we get to know who the CEO is? And what I mean by, we'll know who they are because we can look them up on the website, but will we get to hear from them? Will there be people who will come out and will be recognizable entities within the club? Because I, for one, I don't know who else was there other than Chris Heck. I might know names, but I wouldn't be able to put faces to them. I don't think that's paramount. We don't need to put faces to them. But if you are being the director of the orchestra and you're putting people in the best place to succeed, well, then people are going to own certain pieces and certain projects, certain aspects of how the club is run. And it would just be interesting to see if that is the case, because at other big clubs, or not big clubs, big companies and stuff like that, and essentially that's what Aston Villa Football Club is. It's a company, whether we like it or not. You tend to hear from people like COOs and so on, CFOs, down the chain throughout the course of the year. So it'd just be interesting to see, do we adapt a more company model from the boardroom side of things, while obviously Unai and Monchi are the on the field side of things as well. So just would be interesting. I'm not saying it's paramount.
You've mentioned the supporters a few times there. How important is your relationship with them, particularly when there's going to be all sorts of decisions to be taken?
I know very well that in English football, the clubs are deeply connected with their communities and with their fans, and that's extremely important for me, for all the club, and also for the owners, that they're fully aware of that. So again, an open and transparent approach for me will be key, and I know very well what the fans represent to the club and what the club represents to them, and we'll do our best to develop the club and to build a strong and fair relationship with the fans. I know probably we will not always agree, or they will not always agree with us, better to say, but I think that if we'll be able to explain and be open, be transparent, and explain our decisions, that will be very useful to build a long-lasting relationship with them.
Look, you've got a huge portfolio of things to do on your desk already, I'm sure. But what are you looking forward to most about working at Aston Villa?
like everybody working football, I say we have a lot of tasks to do, and would be not easy to define the priorities, of course. But at the moment, I'm in the short term, I'm very excited and very determined to understand the club, the people, and the fans. That's extremely important for me, because understanding them will allow myself to set up the priorities and understand what the club needs for me and where I can add value.
And
look, again, both two answers that are very much, they're answers we've heard previously, kind of the stuff I would expect for an in-house interview like this. But still, it needs to be said. It needs to be said in a cogent, coherent way. My day job is involved in the corporate world. You wouldn't think it to look at me or to think of the fact that I work in my cabin, but it is. And it's, things need to be said in a specific way. It's very political to speak, but still you need to get that right too. You don't want to be creating anything out of the ordinary, and these things need to be said, even if we have heard them from people who haven't implemented them before. And that doesn't mean that this person won't implement them. I actually have more hope that they will, based on the clubs they've been with previously, family-owned clubs, as you mentioned, foreign ownership with regards to the Friedrich Group with Roma, and obviously the community-owned aspect of Barcelona, which I think the owners will have put a lot of weight on with regards to this hiring too.
We've touched on what's going to happen sort of straight away, getting familiar with the club. But what are the longer-term goals during your time here?
Longer-term goal is to make the club successful 360 degrees. On the pitch, we have the right people to make it successful. On the pitch, for me, is building on the foundations of the club and on the hard work that has been done over the past 7 years. With the club has been growing a lot, and now it's about consolidating and optimizing everything on the job in order to build something which is sustainable and solid for the long term.
And as a football fan yourself, how much are you looking forward to the new season getting underway?
I'm really looking forward. It seems yesterday that the last season was over, and the new season will start very soon. We'll start playing very soon, and I've heard amazing things about the atmosphere at Villa Park, and it seems that many people told me that is probably the best atmosphere in European football, the ones that is created by the fans at the stadium, and I'm really looking forward to experience myself.
Fantastic. Great to meet you, and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Just holding himself there. He didn't travel for the Juventus game. He didn't. But I can't even. I got to be honest. I can't even remember if Juventus were at home or away last year when we played them. But yeah, I'm sure he would have gotten a first-hand view, is what I'm saying, from players and from people that were at Juventus last year to as to what Villa Park was like, especially on those European nights as well. So that is the man at the helm. That is Jonathan. Jesus, it's been a long day, and it was an even longer night last night. So the brain is only working about half speed today. So I do apologize. That was Francesco Calvo, as I say, the new head man, I suppose, on the off the field stuff for Aston Villa, and somebody that I'm sure we will get to hear an awful lot more of over the coming days, weeks, months, and years. And hopefully, it will be his tenure, and he will be the captain at the ship that will steer us towards more very, very great nights, great European nights, and more good days in the balance sheet, I suppose, as well, which is what he will be tasked with doing as well. So thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. It's a really quick one. Just want to get it out. I think this stuff is as important as anything else. It's an element of transition for Aston Villa off the field this year. I'm not going to step back and say that there hasn't been an element of tumult, if that is a word, towards the boardroom over the last 2 years or so, because certain fans haven't been happy, in fairness, at some aspects that the previous man introduced. But let's see if we could wipe the slate clean for me anyway, and we see what Mr. Calvo can bring, given he's got his massive experience at some huge European clubs, and he wants Aston Villa to be a huge European club, back to where they belong. Thanks very much, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for the Hansa Rostock. I'll do a small piece on that. In the meantime, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.